Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. God bless each and every one of you. Let's just jump right in, folks. There's plenty of things to talk about. And Kathy Barnett, if you guys don't remember, was running for the Senate seat in Pennsylvania against Dr. Oz in the primary. And of course, Sean Hannity, one of the biggest gatekeepers in the conservative movement, refused to even have her on the show, because he was all in on us, and didn't want to give her any exposure to let Pennsylvanians maybe get to know this other candidate they may not have heard of. Of course, Kathy is a strong conservative, and has a strong Christian belief and believes a lot of the same stuff I know I believe in and things like that. And she was an excellent candidate, a very American first type of candidate, somebody that was unwilling to shy away from President Trump, and many instances where Dr. Oz, for example, had abandoned Trump as soon as he secured the nomination. Pull it from website, even though Dr. Oz would be a better senator than Fetterman, which I still want people to go out there and vote for AWS. But man, they missed out on a great opportunity to have a real fighter, somebody like Kathy Barnett, leading the state of Pennsylvania in the Senate and fighting for that wonderful state, and maybe getting that state back into a Ren's blends of what it used to be. Now, she appeared on Tim Pool the other night. She called out Sean Hannity, and good for her, because Tim Pool actually had her on, and I wish that Sean Hannity would have swallowed his ego a little bit, and had her on, but he refused to do, so he instead wanted to continue in on the name-calling, and smearing of her along with other individuals who participated on social media. And it was not a good look for a lot of them. It really revealed who they were. And of course I already know Sean Hannity is a two-faced bit who sit there, and loves rubbing elbows with Don Lemon, and who knows what else over on from CNN, because a lot of people over on Fox News, it's not about controlled opposition. Everyone listen to this, Kathy Barnett said. Our two main primary opponents they spent, when you look at what they spent and the money from the PACs, they spent $60 million on a primary race, right? I spent less than $2 million, and all of it came from the people, but this is what you get by 13 months, 1,500 miles knocking on every door. I have no regrets. I left it all out there on the road now, that people have chosen in large part, because Sean Hannity is a jackass. Can I say, hey man, people were manipulated. We're gonna win. Sean Hannity is a jackass, but we already know that. I don't think that's a cuss word. I was asking Jesus about that on the way. Donkey, right? It's another way of saying donkey, but he is, I know. But nonetheless, we're now in a race. I am not on the ballot. I will be walking and voting Republican all the way down, because God knows Fetterman is a hot mess. Okay, there you guys go. Yeah. No, absolutely. Sean Hannity is a jackass. And if you want to take it a step further, I would say Democrat, right? That's what a jackass is. That's Sean Hannity is not great for the move. And he's, of course, once again, that gatekeeper, keeping people that have these great ideas, and people that are willing to have solutions and move the country forward. He doesn't want those people. He wants people like Lindsey Graham. Those types of people. He likes rubbing elbows with those types of people. That says a lot about his character. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you still watching Fox News? Are you still watching Sean Hannity? Are you sit there love watching him? Let me know in the comments down below. No hate here. You can watch whoever you want to watch, just know what angle he's coming from. He wears his CIA pen for a reason. And this is some big news. Well, just like that, friends, the mass exodus of the Democrat Party continues, and other top Democrat has exited the party. And just like we've seen countless examples, Democrats aren't just leaving saying I'm done with politics. I'm leaving politics, it's getting too divisive. They're leaving and on the way out. They are slamming the Democrat Party, essentially telling the world that this party is irredeemable, and I don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. Now, today's story doesn't exactly come as a surprise. Tulsi Gabbard has decided to exit the Democrat Party. I mean, nowadays, when you think about Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat doesn't exactly come to mind. At least it's not the first thought people would say, that Tulsi Gabbard has drifted more and more right-wing. She's become a fascist. Some have been brainwashed from watching too much MSNBC and literally think that Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian agent or Russian plan, but no, of course not. We know the reality. The reality is the Democrat Party has left her. Democrats have gone further and further left. They've become increasingly elite, and that is exactly what Mrs. Gabbard is saying. As she slams the Democrats, slams the door in their face, turns around and walks away, possibly for good, of course. Let's talk about it, folks. Let's start off with Tulsi Gabbard's message on her Twitter feed. I can no longer remain in today's Democrat Party, that is now under complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness, who divided us by racializing every issue, and stoke anti-white racism actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms. Let's take a listen. Tulsi Gabbard said, I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party. That's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police, but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common-sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, now I invite you to join me. Okay, folks, when we're talking about lifelong Democrats ditching the party, this might be the most high-profile case. We've covered a lot of voters who have left the party with very similar sentiments, covered politicians as well. I think one of the most high-profile recently was the North Las Vegas Democrat mayor who left the party for very similar reasons, but this, friends, takes the whole lifelong Democrat or Democrat politician thing to a whole other level. Tulsi Gabbard was on the Democrat presidential nomination stage, on the debate stage back in 2020. Tulsi Gabbard was a high-profile Democrat politician, and she is done with these elitist goons. She said it herself, elitist cabal of warmongers, and she's not wrong. In fact, she's absolutely right. She is correct, right on the money. That is exactly who and what the Democrats are. I mean, just look at the style of responses that she's getting from the Democrat establishment. Bill Kristol on Twitter writes, Tulsi Gabbard makes sense. If you are pro-Assad and pro-Putin, you join today's Republican Party. I mean, he essentially proved her exact point for her elitist cabal establishment warmongers. If you question the US government's actions, if you question their stances, if you question these wars at all and bring any nuance to the table, if you spend any time trying to understand the other side, then you're automatically pro-Assad and pro-Putin, and you're an extremist Republican. What these Democrats want, of course, what these elitist cabal warmongers want, is for you not to question the narrative and to cheer and egg on the war and nothing else. Absolute deep state Pentagon goons is what they are. Tulsi Gabbard is exposing them for exactly what they are. And this is going to have implications, folks. There's a whole lot of Tim Pool, Glenn Greenwald type Democrats. A lot of people don't necessarily call themselves right-wing. They haven't made the full transition, or at least they still identify as Democrats. They haven't made that move to the center just yet. We'll see. This whole Tulsi Gabbard thing might be yet again another massive red pill, a wake-up call, that the Democrat Party no longer represents them. It's become a narrative-driven, elitist, fascist cult. And if you're a fan of Tulsi Gabbard, who in a lot of ways is kind of like the Ron Paul of the Democrat Party, and now you see this situation, not only Tulsi Gabbard leaving but Democrats attacking her as she leaves the party, as she exits. I don't think that's going to sit very well with people. I don't think Democrats are looking very good with their whole Ukrainian narrative. Now, sure, it's fine if you support Ukraine, it's fine if you're angry at Russia for invading a sovereign nation, absolutely. But to be a blind cultist cheering on and egging on and escalating this war, it's not a good look. And I think that really is the final straw for a lot of these Tulsi Gabbard-style Democrats. They've had enough of it. You think politicians and especially Democrats would have learned their lesson about this endless war and perpetuating war nonsense from the early 2000s. But apparently not, and of course, the whole Democratic elitist thing goes much further than the warmonger element. I mean, just speaking of Tulsi Gabbard and of course, that infamous moment with Kamala Harris, she literally ended her campaign going after Kamala Harris' record as a prosecutor. And speaking of elitist, how much of a tone-deaf, out-of-touch line political elitist snake do you have to be to have the prosecutor record, that Kamala Harris has to then say something like this? Again, how much of a liar do you have to be to say something like that? We're talking about dereliction of duty when it comes to the southern border. Kamala Harris is the face of that. Here she is pointing the finger at Republicans. This is what she means by stoking division. This is what she means by elitist, as people are currently rotting in jail because of Kamala Harris. She's out here collecting political brownie points in front of these elitist Democrat crowds. These people don't care, and neither do their voters. These posh city folks who just love to talk the talk, they love to take all of these issues and wear them on their chest as their identity. Looked at me. I'm such a good person, the border, I stand with Ukraine, when really all they're doing is further escalating crises and war. I mean, for Pete's sakes, did you guys see what that Vindman Cloud said the other day on Twitter cheering on the escalation of the Ukraine-Russia conflict? Quote, "I've been dreaming of this moment." I mean, just disgusting stuff. This party is irredeemable in its current state, and it's no wonder people like Tulsi Gabbard and so many others actually didn't even think about it. Even Andrew Yang, another high-profile Democrat, it's no wonder they're leaving. It's no wonder people no longer want to associate themselves with the modern left in the Democrat Party. They're going further and further and further left, and they're becoming more and more elitist and arrogant, and generally unlikable and unpleasant, and it's no wonder we're seeing this phenomenon increase the mass exodus of the Democrat Party, and I'm thinking I highly doubt that Tulsi Gabbard is going to be the last one. In fact, I think Tulsi Gabbard and her courageous action here is going to lead to a much greater exodus. People are done with the woke warmongering political left. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and